31 days in, and what has the Biden administration done? Well, on the front of COVID, absolutely nothing. We've talked about at an endless length at this point that all they've done for a COVID solution, their plan, all they did is just take it wholesale from Trump's team and just plopped it in and said, fucking good enough, right? Yeah, so no, they haven't followed up on anything, increasing vaccination doses. Oh, they just recently started talking to FEMA about putting in vaccination camps around the country because that's the most pressing thing. He also Biden made his first phone call a week after the power outages in Texas, a week after the shit kicking they've been taking. He finally hopped on there and realized, it'd probably be worth it to call Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, and maybe think about activating FEMA. That's the one thing that I said that he could do. That would be something that he could actually do, because I don't think any undue blame needs to be placed on Biden, because he can barely take care of everything that he's doing right now. But what is the administration doing other than skirting all of their campaign promises? Well, okay, I got to walk that back a little bit, because they are following through on one thing, but we got to get to what they are doing as well, and that is making sure that Kamala Harris's family gets fucking rich. And they had to tell one of her, I think it was a niece, to stop making money off of the back of Kamala Harris, because that's how Kamala Harris makes all of her money, on her back. Meena Harris sold clothes and books that use the name and face of her aunt, the vice president. Biden transition lawyers reportedly told Harris she should stop profiting from her aunt's name. Phenomenal Woman campaign has now stopped stocking products related to Kamala Harris. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. You got to follow the Biden model. You got to wait until he's out of politics, or you got to make sure that it's on the DL. And only take Air Force 2 if you're going to be making any sort of business arrangements by benefiting off of the vice presidential name. Or you just need to have the good looks of John Lennon and all the talent of Yoko Ono and be frankly hideous. Ella Emhoff, stepdaughter of Kamala Harris, okay? I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that, you know what, if she cleaned herself up a little bit, you know what, okay, maybe ditch the fucking glasses, did something with that unibrow. I see that she worked really hard on that. Yeah, might have something attractive under there. Like, may or may not have compared her to, I don't know, the fucking dumpy girl in the corner of your class. Potential's there, but listen, dude, this is a fucking rusted out frame that you find in the tall grass out at a fucking farm. There is nothing here whatsoever. I like that cover a lot better because it says take what you want, cunt. But yeah, look at this. Bruh, there's always been a need and a want for rail thin models, okay? Because they just show off the clothes. But normally they're attractive, okay? Like Kate Moss was someone who had the circumference of my wrist, but she was a good-looking woman. This thing looks like a rescue dog from the SPCA. There's nothing going on there, but she's a stepdaughter of Kamala Harris, so you can't say anything bad about her. But fuck YouTube. I have my beef with them in the next video. But I've said that I was going to say Obama administration. This is just, yeah, the third term of that anyways. The Biden-Harris administration, because you can't finish by just saying that it's the Biden administration, because she's trying to ingratiate herself in there as much as possible to make the transition very seamless. Oh my god, let's just get off of this. They have talked vociferously about reinstalling critical race theory. And that was one of the executive orders during that fucking blitz that Joe Biden had. Got rid of the 1776 patriotic re-education for schools because that's, I don't know, racist and shit. But instead, he just reinstills critical race theory to be taught and allows that to happen. And, you know, it just could have been in schools. Oh, but what happens when it starts happening to other federally funded places? Okay? How about this one? Wisconsin's capital city, that would be Madison, is trying to ban white people from police oversight board. Why? Last time I checked, trying to ban white people from Wisconsin would put you at a severe deficit of having literally nobody left. This shit just needs to stop. Like, it's fucking bonkers. It's all of these low information people that just go on slogans, catchphrases, quotes from other people instead of forging their own path and making their own decisions with all of the information available to them. Okay? Criticize the media. That is fair and that is fine because they only give you that much of a story that is actually that big. Okay? People know. We'll just go back to George Floyd, okay? Oh, he died because he had a knee on his neck. Well, did you know that he had enough fentanyl in his system to knock over an African elephant? Oh, but he didn't deserve that. He was a good man and he didn't do nothing. Well, how about he orchestrated an armed robbery and broke into a lady's home? Now, some false information that has been put out there as well. He didn't hold a gun to the lady's stomach, who was pregnant at the time. No, he just held it to her head and made sure that she was there and kept at gunpoint so she wouldn't do anything to the innocent ransackers. But as you can see, even in this picture, justice for George. How about justice for that lady who had her place ran through by a convicted drug fiend? But you never hear that story now, do you? Exactly. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. took to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in '63 to deliver his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, he offered Americans of all races compelling vision of society no longer prejudiced by race. He envisioned a country where citizens are judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. Now, that's all well and good. But you should also know the other side of the coin with Martin Luther King Jr. He was also not exactly somebody who was on the up and up when it came to equality. And no, I'm not talking about color of their skin. I'm talking about male and female relations. If you want to check that stuff out, feel free to do that because old Martin used to run through the bitches a time or two and wasn't necessarily kind to their well-being. But let's see this hate panel get assembled. 6 of the board's 11 members must be black. No Asians, African Indians, Hispanics, or Latinos, or whites can sit in those 6 seats. What? Black only, to use terminology for the city's alder work group, with explicitly mandated 50% black members. That is functionally retarded. We have the numbers pulled up here for 2019, and there are a little better than 250,000 people that live in Madison, Wisconsin. 78.6% are white, 7% are black. Let me read that again. 78.6% are white. 7% are black. Where do they come up with the 50%? I don't get it. Unless they're talking about violent crime statistics. Furthermore, 1 board seat is reserved for an Asian. Well, they make up 10% of the population, so if you have 11 people on that board, that actually makes sense. If you want to run through this autistic fucking equity program, I would not advise that for anybody doing anything. 1 board seat is reserved for somebody identifying as, okay, actual Hispanics, actual Central Americans hate the term Latinx because those countries aren't down with this intersectional horseshit. Finally, 1 board member is reserved for a bundle of sticks. Although the city presumably would allow someone to be both a minority and they'd have to create another seat or they just have to kick out another white person because 78.6% is not enough to warrant fair representation because 50% need to be black. 7% of the population equates to 50% of the board seats. But this is going to fail just as spectacularly as defunding the police, like what happened in Minnesota after they voted to and then had to walk that back within months of that going on because violent crime went through the fucking roof. And we covered this, I forget what video it is, but by the end of the year, carjackings were up something like 300 fucking %. It's retarded. And this report actually, of identity politics overdrive comes from the Police Civilian Oversight Board. I couldn't think of a better word salad. In response to activists concerned with police relations, the board's mission is rather vague: provide input, engage in community outreach, and make policy-level recommendations. You have a vague name for your board, and then you have 3 of the most obtuse mission points as you can possibly think of. Like, that could be anything from a police oversight board to a marketing firm's mission statement. It is not specific enough to do anything of positive action. But yeah, so this is just, it might be on the fringes for just a leftist large city, which kind of sounds redundant. But how about something a little bit more, I guess, famous than just the Madison Police Department? How about Coca-Cola? Okay, Coca-Cola has employees take training on how to be less white. That is explicitly in their materials. Combat racism. Coca-Cola is making employees go through racism training that teaches the company's workers to be less white. These images are from an internal whistleblower that had to go through this training. We'll just pull it up here. It's possible that these could be shopped. I just want to leave that disclaimer out there. But as you can see here, the first one, it is, of course it's written by Robin DiAngelo, author of White Fragility, who is an avowed and out-and-out racist, saying that she feels uncomfortable whenever black people are in the room. And this is the person that is writing course material for arguably the largest soft drink company in the world. I hazard to say largest food producer. They're up there. They're in like, what, the top 20, top 25 mega corporations of the world? Yeah. Here's the first slide. Confronting racism. Understanding what it means to be white. Challenging what it means to be racist. Yep, a redefinition. So 380 other poor saps had to go through this. To be less white is to be less oppressive, be less arrogant, be less certain, be less defensive, be less ignorant, be more humble, listen, believe, break with apathy, break with white solidarity. All right, lightning round. Be less oppressive. Wasn't it the whites who got rid of slavery some 200 years ago? Be less arrogant. We aren't the ones running around telling you to be less black. Be less certain. Yes, constantly put yourself in a state of second-guessing yourself at all times. Be less defensive. What's the point of having a backbone? Because we're just going to install the new one for you. Be less ignorant. That contradicts with be less certain. Be more humble. So when we tell you that you're terrible, you just have to take it with a smile. Listen, I won't. Believe. Why should I? Break with apathy. How about write with intelligence? Break with white solidarity. Outside of these racists, I never quite think of the white community as much as they think of the black, the Latinx community, the Muslim community. That's what they mean by solidarity. I don't see that around here. I don't see only Irish people sticking together. This isn't the fucking early 1900s. There isn't a Italian district. There isn't a Polish district. There isn't a Ukrainian district. No, I think we worked on this thing called integration a long time ago to understand that the United States is a great place. Canada is a great place. Alberta is a great place. There we go. I'll say that. And that we have a shared appreciation with our new home. How about that? In the United States and other Western nations, white people are socialized to feel that they are inherently superior because they are white. Remember, this is for people who could potentially be working in a warehouse for Coca-Cola. Do I need to debunk that sentence? Because I think it stands on its own as being one of the dumbest things ever put to a computer screen. Research shows, which research? That by age 3 to 4, the years of socialization, children understand that it is better to be white. How could you possibly prove that? Remember, just a simple test, okay? If you see anything like this and then you just want to flip the different races, like if this is other Western nations, black people are socialized to feel that they are inherently superior because they are black. Research shows that by the age of 3 to 4, children understand that it is better to be Chinese. Does that sound fucked up? Does that sound wrong? Well, guess what? The inverse is the same thing. And finally, just to top it off, because you are told to not be apathetic, that you are told to listen and believe, just try to be less white. Go outside when it's not fucking 50 below, when the snow isn't coming down sideways. Grab a tan. You'll be less white. Unbelievable. So it's tough to say if this is true, because the examiner apparently, reached out for a request, and Coca-Cola didn't get back to them because they're too busy scrubbing everything off, like how we seen with Goodyear telling people that they couldn't wear any political messaging on their shirts or hats. But as the next slide also showed, that they, by political statements, they meant anything that has to do with President Trump or the MAGA movement. But what was encouraged is Black Lives Matter. This shit is fucking retarded. There's no other way to put it, okay? This is just tearing at the fabric of society, trying to turn neighbor against neighbor. It's the left looking around, realizing that there really aren't any other problems in the world right now, and then just trying to reinstall them so they're going to have something to bitch about into the future. Because, hey, guess what, left? You won everything, okay? Everything that you wanted. It's all here. Everything is great. But it's too great. It's too perfect. And you just want to create more problems in order to have something to bitch about, and to let your overlords in big government come in and say, oh, we're going to fix it. Yeah, fix it, all right. Make sure that there's no harmony and everybody's divided along these moronic lines of immutable characteristics. But as Harmeet Dillon said, who tweeted out the response to this, yeah, this seems like blatant racial discrimination to this employment lawyer. She knows quite a bit of stuff, so I defer to her opinion on this. I guess the only way to make sure that this is not going to become the standard is for more people to do what they did with this, is to take pictures, send them out, blow the whistle on these corporations doing these scumbag moves. And if not, just walk out whenever they start doing this racist shit. I can't stand it. I think that it's blatantly racist, and I think you guys probably do as well. All this is doing is just sowing more division and not bringing anyone together. But in the next video, we got to talk about some discrimination of another kind. Ideological discrimination. And this is the end of the news coverage for today. I'm unfortunately going to have to hop on my soapbox for the next one, so if you don't want to check that out, I totally understand, but I need to go after YouTube in the next one because they are directly affecting the health of this channel, unless you're watching over on Rumble, which we're going to have to figure out something to do so I have a much larger presence over there. With that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Donald Consuelo and want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.